Christ's sake. I take pleasure in them. For when I am weak, then am I strong.
Amen.
When we get weak in our own minds, when we get weak in our own flesh, when we get rid of that self-centeredness that our Sunday school lessons were talking about, you get yourself off the throne of your heart, that is when you're strong. It's a foreign concept. It's something that just doesn't make sense to our flesh, and your flesh is going to scream out against it every step of the way as you battle against it. I believe a month from now is when we're going to talk, getting into 2 Corinthians chapters 9 and 10 and 11, about by having faith in war. Paul is painting the picture here of a war that goes on all around us. A war that if you aren't fighting it, if you aren't consciously fighting against your flesh, you have subconsciously surrendered and given him the victory. We must realize that without God's power, we can do nothing. Amen. It's not ours. It's not us. It's got to be completely God. What about what he has gifted me with and what he has talented me with? And I know that I can work. You're right. What gives you the power to work? Who gives you every breath? Who talented you in that way? Who has preserved your life up to this point, this moment? When you realize that God has been there all along the way, that God has given you every single thing in life that you have, kind of changes your perspective on what and who you're going to be living for. Changes your perspective on when the trials come. Why are we always so quick to blame God? My God, why hast thou forsaken me? He hasn't forsaken you. He's right there, ready to carry you through. Amen. And that's where it's not just the power of God that we have to rely upon, but the persecution is ongoing. You know, this was, when I'm preaching now, I try to take at least a verse or passage out of the area that I'm going to be preaching out of and memorize it during the previous week. And I immediately was drawn to these next few verses. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. And as I was doing some research into the Greek, there's a lot of subtle play on words that Paul was doing here. Going into the beginning of verse 8, it says, we are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. The word troubled means to be crowded. Or you are just so crowded that you are afflicted. I can't breathe. The only rock concert that I've ever been to was I'm going to use parentheses, floating quotes for those who are just listening to tape, a Christian rock concert. And I got separated from my friends at one point in time and got caught up into one of the mosh pits that was happening. I couldn't believe what was going on here at this Christian rock concert. Even the activities you saw people doing, got separated from my friends. People started jumping all around me, pushing into me, practically almost punching me at certain times. Elbows flying, knees everywhere. I literally, at that point in time, I thought I was going to die. Because there were so many people around, I couldn't get out. I was being pushed around everywhere. That's the idea that this has. There's no escape. Everywhere you look, there's just trouble. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. The word distressed means cramped. So I'm crowded everywhere, but I'm not cramped. You know, so many times we can think about, well, that's Paul, you know, the greatest Christian ever to live. Of course. I mean, look at everything God did for him. Look at the miracles he was able to see. But again, let's look at his life. I think he had the right to say that he was troubled on every side. I mean, the people that had sent him to Damascus, once he got converted, they were the ones that immediately started to chase him down, and he had to be let down out of a window in a basket to escape people that were going to kill him. It's very easy to look at our lives, and we always hear the trials and troubles and things, they don't hit you one at a time. How easy would that be? How nice would that be if these trials, they just, one came and then it went away and God brought you through, and then maybe even right then after that next one was ended, you had a short reprieve, and then the next one comes in. And then that one ends, and then the next one comes in. No, that's not normally how it happens. The old saying, things happen in threes. Does it seem like that sometimes how trials hit you? It's a health trial, then it's a financial trial, and then it's this, and then it's somebody in your family, and then whatever. Boom, boom, boom. John Dowling, in his book called The Power of Illustration, wrote about trials, saying that repeated afflictions come. Many times we look at it as lightning. You're the tree, this lightning just hits you and hits you and hits you again, scathing the tree more and more and more, and it just keeps tearing apart your whole life. And those are the times when it's very easy to look at God and say, God, why have you left me? But he says, don't look at it as lightning, but as the gentle strokes of a sculptor on a marble block, forming it into the image of beauty and holiness. God isn't bringing these trials into you to tear you down. He's bringing these trials in to mold you. There's pressure on every side. That clay that's sitting there could get upset at the sculptor. How dare you push on me in that way? He's trying to form it into what he knows it needs to look like. So even though you're crowded, don't feel cramped. Trust in God that He knows what He's doing. Then the second part of that verse says, we are perplexed, thinking that there's no way out, but we're not in despair. So there's no way that you can see. There is no way out, but we're not in despair. We're not hopeless. Because ultimately, isn't that what despair is? Where you've gone so far down into despair that you literally can't, you are so far deep in the hole that you can't even see the bottom of the hole, much less the top, the way out. That's where Naomi got in the book of Ruth. She was hopeless to provide sons for Orpah and Ruth. Her husband had died. Her daughters-in-law, their husbands had died. She said, go back to your families. There is nothing else I can do for you. Change my name now, because I'm bitter in my soul. She was hopeless. It grieveth me much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord is gone out against me. Ever felt that way? What about Job? He said that I wish that God would grant me that I long for, that He would let loose His hand and cut me off. What is my strength that I should hope? My days are swift, they're spent without hope. My eyes shall see no more good. He lost everything. He lost his family. He lost all of his possessions. He lost his home. All that was left was his wife, who said, just curse God and die. Just go. And then after that, his friends come. Job, what have you done that's so against God that He would do this to you? Begin to critically berate him. Lord, just kill me now. He was hopeless. Sometimes even when we fail God in the midst of trial, when we cry out like this, we can't lose hope. We can't forget that if you are still here, if you are still breathing on this earth, there is some plan that God has for you. There is still some use that God has for you. So many times even people, they look at their past and they get so caught up in the trial of their past. Problems that they created. Sins that maybe that God has forgiven and long forgotten. They'll bring back up, but God still has a use for you. Even in Ezra, Ezra cried out, my God, I am ashamed and blush to lift up my face to thee. Our iniquities are increased over our head. Our trespasses have gone up unto the heavens. They've become so idolatrous as a nation. They've intermingled with their wives, the wives of other people. They had brought in all these gods. They were so far from God that when Ezra stood and read from the law, that he rent his clothes, he covered himself in sackcloth, and then all these elders come to him. Shechaniah being one of them answered and said unto Ezra, we have trespassed against our God, have taken strange wives, yet